here. Alright. I think we're right there. And let's see about this. That says it's starting up. And I should be ready to go. Okay. Let's go over to here. And there. Okay, got that, and let us start up some music. Alrighty, alright. Hopefully everything's in order here. I guess I will get started on this page here. Okay. Page 65. And this will probably be the final... No, it'll... should I say... Yeah. It will most likely definitely be... This will most likely definitely be the final, page that I work on stream for a while. In a couple of days, Mom is going to be here, so that will take me out of the, creation, or mainly just the streaming portion of creating for the next few weeks. I'll still be making comic pages and stuff, but yeah, for actual streaming, I won't really have the opportunity for that for a bit. So, let's make this a nice little send-off, I guess. I've got my Pop-Tart and my Eggo waffle. I should be all set on things to eat. Well, I do hope that everyone that watches these has had their fun with the streams and stuff. Not going to be the final stream I do, but it's going to be the last one for a bit. And, I was kinda hoping... This is the final page before I get to the colored pages of this comic, and I was kind of hoping I would get to the colored pages in the streams before I had to take a break from the streams, but at least it means we will have color when we come back to doing the streams in a couple of weeks. We have a track here, a music track playing from the game that first really was a huge stepping point towards the world the comics take place in being created. Diddy Kong Racing. This is Stardust Alley, I believe. Part of the secret world from that game. That game was always very rough to get, like, complete. Mainly because of that damn Whizpig race in the middle. The second Whizpig race slash final boss is a piece of cake after all that. But that first race, that took weeks for me to be able to actually beat. But once you did, it provided quite a the little bonus world you got that continued the story. Was not expecting that from the lighthouse. But the game Diddy Kong Racing, partway through it, well, yeah, whenever you beat, like, all the racetracks in a single area, you gotta go back through them to collect silver coins in them and stuff. And I used to tell my brother that if you were able to, like, break the barrier, the invisible wall around the island to get out of bounds and stuff, that there was another island out there called Island Silver, because of the silver coins. And that is where the first location in my world that the comics take place in came from. Island Silver. And it's where where Barbot first takes place on, and is a very prevalent location going forward for pretty much the entire franchise. It's the island that King Shadow and his affiliates from back in my old stuff were born on. King Shadow, Shalanda, Jack Kite, they all come from there. And their mentor at school, Masks. And that was essentially the main villain group of my old stuff. And obviously, the Shadow tournaments here are named after King Shadow. You can see a statue of him above the entranceway that the fighters come out of to get into the arena from. Over on... It's just a bit beyond the panel border here. Yeah, that is the origins of one of the more important areas of my stuff. Important for historical reasons. Obviously, Doko and his friends, well, they can probably visit it, but it's not gonna be like Island Silver from the old stuff because of how far in the future it is. But they themselves don't know it as Island Silver. Other than probably Tesley, because she knows all the history stuff, but normal people wouldn't really identify anything by the comic time period as Island Silver. I do like chocolate chip waffles. And if anyone has enjoyed these streams, be sure to head on over to my Patreon, which I believe the link to that will be in the description. There you can keep up to date on various whatevers that I work on and interact with the Edwardian army, or whatever you want to call them. All the other people that watch my stuff. Yeah, after this, I'm going to spend the last couple of days after this just getting everything cleaned up all nice and proper for when Mama Edward comes to town. Yeah, the other, yesterday in the Discord, we were talking a bit about that Nimona show or movie or whatever. Not sure if it's a series or a movie or what, but I used to see it in the bookstore. I had no idea that thing that was being advertised was the same as the book until I saw the other day what it was called in an ad. It, like, looks entirely different from the book. Like, the art style, not what happens in it. From what I've seen, it looks like it's pretty much just doing what the book was doing. Obviously, I'm going to leave, filling in all the audience back here for, after we're done here. I do not care for wasting the time just doing image after image of, like, all these audience members. It gets very, very dull to me presentation-wise for a video. Doko landing from high up in the air, however, is great entertainment. Such action and speed. Very Doko. Much excitement. I had a dream the other night about my dad and brother robbing the ATM at the bank in the town square back in Iowa. I've been out in Ohio for the last going on 2 years now, but for some reason in the dream they were trying to rob the ATM, and when security came out, Dad started trying to explain why he should have the money, but they asked me what was going on and I shrugged, so they let me go. That is all I really remember of that dream, but it was one of the ones that I did remember, so may as well keep it logged and preserved, and, like, before I forget anything about it. It feels like I've been doing these comics for a bit longer than other people do. A number of webcomics seem to go for a few years and then fizzle out. And this one just keeps going. And it will keep going. Decades and decades. Yeah, when everyone's moved on to the next big platform to plaster things on, I'll just still be putting this on DeviantArt and stuff. Yeah, probably not, but it'll still be going in some form. I do not, for what all I have planned, it's, pretty much came up with the first main 3 sagas back when I was in high school, years before I started working on the comic. Actually, I'm wondering now. It was probably around 2 or 3 years before I started actually making the comic. Because it started out as, like, a video game idea, like pretty much everything else I came up with. I always intended to make video games of it, the stuff I made. And the Doko comics came up with the first 3 sagas back before like back in high school and everything. And then Doko's was just the comic that I decided, well, I have a story here, and it's connected to my old stuff I used to make. This seems like a good enough place to attempt making a comic. I had thought about doing a comic of the Freaks before that, but every time I thought about it, it felt either too simplistic, or that I wanted to keep it as solely a video game endeavor. The Doko stuff had more detail to it story-wise, so it seemed like a better fit for attempting a comic with. Then I had ideas to make like both a video game and children's book series out of Lester's Adventures, with Baron Gearwick as the villain and everything. I've rarely put stuff up of that stuff, because I've not worked on it as much as other things, but there are a few doodles on my DeviantArt of that stuff. And I started work on a new AMV yesterday. Just another project for the spare time. It is of The Secret of Kells. I got some audio together of the Party Crashers for another attempt at an animation. No idea how long that one will take. With how long the Invader Zim one took, I can only assume months. But the Invader Zim one had me making the comic alongside it, which I guess the Party Crashers one probably would also. Yeah, I know people talk about managing your time and everything, but for me it all just sort of blends together as it's just a constant work. There's no management to be done other than piling on more and more work. Body has not broken yet, so the schedule has not broken yet. But I guess I'll count Mom visiting in a couple of days as a vacation of sorts. It'll be a vacation from streaming, at the least. I'll still obviously be working on things, just not audio-wise. Yeah, I've never been one that has cared for people being around me when I perform stuff. It always feels like I will be judged for things. That is why I am happy to be here by myself for the time being. I can get so much work done audio-wise that normally I don't get the chance to do. Now, let's see here. How does this work? That's his vest. Ba-da-dum. I have thought before about doing that Gartic phone thing, but I have no idea how that works, nor do I really know anybody, I don't think, that would be participating in it, and I think you need more than one person to be able to do it. I wish the stylus was more smooth on this computer, more go as easy as it does on my other computer. But this is the computer that can actually stream stuff, so it's the one I gotta go with. So many speed lines this time, breaking things up in the image when it comes to the blacks. 18 food. Taking pause from audio. Did you know that in Jurassic Park, the reason that the Tyrannosaurus Rex cannot see the characters when they move, in the book, the original explanation, is because it is made with frog DNA. It is working off of the logic that, with certain frogs, things tend to become invisible to them if they stay still. That is why, in Jurassic Park, they are able to camouflage themselves, sort of, when they're in front of the T-Rex. I forget what explanation, if any, the movie gives, just other than, oh, I'm a dinosaur expert, so I know these things that I couldn't possibly know about these creatures that have been long dead. Gotta wonder, though, why they use, like, the sequence of a frog to fill in the dinosaur DNA. Especially since they blatantly state in the story that they're related to birds. You'd think it'd be like avian DNA they'd use instead of frog. Probably the best story Michael Crichton ever did was, I would say, the Andromeda Strain. It was a lot more thought out feeling to me scientifically than his other books. Jurassic Park is fun, but it's more of an adventure than more science fiction. Obviously, it's science fiction, but it feels more like Indiana Jones as opposed to people that are dealing in the scientific field and stuff. And Andromeda Strain as, like, the absolute best movie to book adaptation, or book to movie adaptation I have ever seen. The original movie of Andromeda Strain is, like, page per page what is in the book. It's pretty much a direct translation. Other than, like, the scene at the end where the guy is climbing the ladder to set off, like, deactivate the self-destruct sequence. I remember in one version it's lasers, which I'm pretty sure that's the movie. It's lasers that are the security system there. And in the book, it's like darts that inject, like, sleeping drug into you. That's pretty much the only difference I can think of for that story between the movie and book. As an adventure, I'm sure it'll put some people to sleep. It's not the most action-packed thing ever, but it has quite a sense of foreboding to it with the implications of what could happen. You know, with science fiction, it being a good science fiction story does not necessarily mean it's going to be the most exciting story. Action-adventure and science fiction are two entirely different genres. They cross paths quite often, mostly due to just general desire for fun and excitement. But science fiction itself is more of a focus on, like, science and the logic of how things would work pertaining to what the story is about. Probably the most popular science fiction thing at this point would be Star Wars, which, science fiction-wise, I have never seen it as, like, really great. It's fun as hell during, like, The Empire Strikes Back. And, yeah, it's fun during the initial 3 movies. But science fiction-wise, it always felt more like Power Rangers than, like, serious, like, quality science fiction. More of a science fiction with less science and more fantasy in a science type of environment. You've got the big warships, but that has, like, very little detail to the workings of it and stuff. It's more focused on the bombastic blockbuster adventure, which is why it's so fun. Honestly, though, the best Star Wars stuff you'll ever get was the Genndy cartoon, the original Clone Wars cartoon. Given that it's his team, them doing Samurai Jack and everything, they're pretty much a perfect fit for that. And watching all the episodes of that series is basically watching, like, episode 2.5. It's pretty much a whole movie itself, set between episodes 2 and 3, and that directly leads into the beginning of 3. My only complaint is, if you're watching them as movies, after you get done with that, you have episode 3 to look forward to disappoint you with how their Grievous is and everything. Nowhere near as much quality as the cartoon had. Gendy is a master when it comes to the scenes that are composed, the drama in them. He has such an understanding of how cinema works that a lot of people, as things have gone on, don't seem to grasp as much. There's always obviously going to be those that do understand how to do it in engaging manners, but when it comes to the industry as a whole, they don't hang on scenes as much as they probably should at times, and they don't let the quiet moments speak for themselves and all that as often now. It's very kind of annoying. Like, it's stuff that goes in cycles. You get different styles that hang around for a while. It's just a waiting game for the stuff that you enjoy to come back. Personally, I have not been into a theater, probably in years now. Last time I went was a few years ago to see Nope with Mom. And, yeah, the theater-going experience was a bit not great, because it had all these kids that were running around everywhere in the theater. People on their phones and everything. Very hard to focus on the movie. We got Doko looking towards where he blasted the claw here. And this is coming off of the previous page where he spins around once the claw throws him into the air and just launches this big energy blast at him from his hands. Just not even really thinking too hard, just angry, and just tries to attack him somehow. And it completely obliterates the spot that the blast hit, so Doko is looking towards where the claw was, probably in a mixture of, did I get him, and is he, like, not severely injured from that? But then Doko notices there's a shadow in the smoke that's left. The claw is still standing there. I've been very tired today. Very tired. I was seeing stars earlier in my vision. But I'm not yawning this time, so That's an improvement. I don't really yawn, I don't think, when I'm doing the video game streams, because it's like a constant, active investment you have in, like, thinking about what you are doing on screen. But when it gets into just more typical daily activities that you're going through the motions in, like with drawing and everything, it tends to fall into a realm of, yeah, I'm a bit more relaxed, so my body is going to fall into its normal routines of expression during it. See, how long have we been playing this track for? We should probably change this. Spectacular Spider-Man and overhyped disaster. Hell no, it's the best Spider-Man show ever. Why would someone title their video that? Hickman Iceberg. Better. Nope. None of these are what I'm after. I'm just trying to find some nice music to put on. Yeah, down, ba-down, 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 ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, ba-down, bum-bum, ba-ba-ba, ba-down, bum-bum, ba-ba-ba, ba-down, bum-bum, bum-bum, ba-da-da-da-dum, bum-bum, ba-down, bum-bum, ba-ba-ba, ba-down, bum-bum, ba-ba-ba, ba-down, bum-bum, ba-da-ba-da, ba-down. Ba-ba. Ba-bum. Bum-bum. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. You're down. Ba-down. Ba-down. Ba-da-da-ba-da-da-ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, I think I got something here. There we go, I'll just put this on. I was not sure what I was humming or singing or whatever there. That was just some tune that was forming as I was looking for music. Hello, G-Star, how are you doing? We're just working on this page of the comic here. Yeah, so far I have talked about Nimona a bit in Jurassic Park. Various other things that have popped into my head. I need to turn this music down, so it's not just blasting my ears out. this will be the final stream for a few weeks at least. Oh well, I hope you enjoyed your vacation, G-Star. Now, you were vacationing... You live in California, and you were vacationing there as well, correct? I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure the living in California is accurate, at least. Oh, well, that's cool. I had a dream about my dad and brother robbing a bank. What is your new OC like? Or what was the dream about? I think I heard something about some dream recently, but I can't remember what. I've had so many things playing in the background while I work these days. I know one of them I heard was, one thing I had playing was a, Let Me Explain Studios animation. I think her name is Rebecca... It's Rebecca something. It has a P at the start of the last name. She was, like, talking about how a teacher she had killed somebody after she'd left their class and stuff. Come across all sorts of crazy stories on the internet. I've seen so many throughout my life at this point. I don't know if there's anything that can surprise me at this point. I've just gotten too desensitized to pretty much everything. All the stuff that you find, or... I used to see things on, I think it was cracked.com. They always had these very crazy stories that you'd read about and stuff. That was years ago. Seen some of those stories pop up on YouTube since then, though. I will tell all these stories that I have experienced firsthand in my autobiography later in life. Oh well, sometimes when you name characters, it's just to make it sound cool. It doesn't necessarily need to make sense. Doko here is just named Doko Rapilzo because I was trying to come up with an idea for what to call the character, and it was like Doko, Bucko, Butto, Doko. Doko Rapilzo. Doko Rapilzo. That'll be the name. And it kinda just stuck as that. Tesley and Mekmek have more thought put into their names, but for Doko, the main hero, it's just because I liked how it sounded. I remember Mom does not care for the name, I don't think. Dad does not like the last name. But it's what he is. I'm not changing that. Certainly not for them. Oh well, it's okay, G-Star. I've always got things to work on, so whether I receive stuff or not is never too big of an issue. I've always got things preoccupied either way. Twitter itself is becoming a bit more of a hassle to work with. It was not letting me see anything today. It kept saying, error, reload, and every time I'd do that, it would not show me anything. Well, if you want, you can send stuff. You can always send me stuff. That is, I am always available. Oh, what is this? Get off my screen, get back to the music. We did not come for ads. Yeah, I always have people messaging me for things like commissions and stuff, so people popping up and everything is kinda just normal to me. Now I'll give him normalize. Yeah, when Doko has his goggles down, the goggle rims kind of act as his, they go along with the curve of the eye. They act in a very improbable, cartoony way to show his expressions. Because if you kept them as just squares, it's a lot harder to show that one eye is, like, open wide and the other is, like, slanted. It's all what works to convey the emotion of the piece. Edward18 noises. Edward18 noise making intensifies. There's a lot of sighing and ho-humming in the meantime between sentences while I'm talking on stream. Not so much in real life, but on here it happens more because I'm drawing at the same time as I'm having to think of stuff to say. And it just... it's more of an effort to give to do that type of multitasking for me. Yeah, I just wish I could have gotten to the colored pages before I stopped doing these streams. Once we return, though, it will be pages that are in color that will be on the streams instead of these black and white ones. This comic is so damn long. I don't know how long it's going to be before it's over. 77 pages sketched out, and... I was just thinking that it'd be like 60-something at most, but nope, we're still going. But it's whatever the page count ends up being. It's, Since I don't have, like, constraints to work under or a company to follow the orders of, I can make the comics however many pages I want. And each comic sort of dictates itself as I'm creating it. Now, a smart comic maker would lay out in an outline how many pages there would be and try and fit things to that type of a script, probably. But I've never claimed to be a smart person. I do have sort of a script, though, written out for this comic. I usually don't have, like, a big map out of the comic before I do it, but with this one, getting into this fight, I wanted to make sure that everything was, like, in place and sort of more set in stone, to have it as a more structured finale to the, I guess, saga. I always count this tournament saga as the start of the stuff that takes place after this, but with how it's gone, this can pretty much be counted as its own little mini saga, I guess. This and the 2 comics before it. Really, all the comics are just an ongoing series, though. And boo-boo. Okay, this is getting to be a bit too calming of music to me. Let's see here. Ouch. There's a meteor herd. Ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da. Let's go to this one. Yeah, we'll do this one. Let's mess with this. Yeah, that should do for now. This is from the video game EGIJI. A very good game. I believe it's free. It's had a number of versions come out since it was first created, but as far as I've ever seen, it's always been a free game you can just download off the website of the creator. I've beaten it a few times. I remember the first time I beat it was when I was visiting Florida. Yeah, there were a few early YouTubers that did Let's Plays of this game. It was like before the 2010s. And I'm pretty sure this game predates YouTube itself. Yeah, it's one of those games that was rather ambitious for the limitations that it seemed to be, the visuals seem to imply. It has like a whole system where, depending on how much you kill other enemies and stuff, it actually affects how the character is in-game. What endings you get, and how they talk and stuff in the game. And if they haven't killed anybody, they're more shy and reserved, but if they kill a lot of people, then they're very abrasive and aggressive in conversation. Had a very neat, kind of a neat how to determine how the player plays type of thing to it. And a very rockin' soundtrack, as can be heard here. Yeah, Doko, these comics, the games I intended to make with them originally were 3D platformers. And, I guess some collectathon type elements to it, but it was just big platforming adventures is what they were intended to be. And I don't normally, do things behind smoke and stuff, but I have done it before. So when I do things behind smoke, I kinda just do them as these lines if they're like black images or black color that the character has behind the smoke. And then for the more white areas, it's a more broken up lines, just sort of implying an outline. Yeah, the claw here, after being blasted with the energy that Doko blasts him with in the previous page, he kinda just took a step backwards once he realized the blast was coming at him. So it, like, missed him and hit the ground in front of his feet. And, but it, like, completely ripped up his clothes, like his hat and his shirt and stuff. So here, he is going to be, throwing it off, and you're going to get to see what he actually looks like underneath the clothing. Oh, well, if you are interested in G-Star, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It is quite an adventure. It is not at all something I was thinking was going to be as big and epic as it was going into it. I thought it was gonna be like one of those things where it's like all a dream type of thing at the end with how innocent, like, how tame everything is in the first cutscene, but by the end of it, it is extraordinarily epic for the finale of it. And it's got quite a few secrets in that game, if you, like, go out of your way to find things. Like, there's stuff you can... There's secrets to find that involve you, like, doing things you would not think to do, like, launch, like, what is it? I remember there's a part where I think this enemy has a deflector shield, and there's, like, this window that you can't reach normally. And so what you have to do... Most people just going through the game probably wouldn't even notice the window, but to get to it, you have to launch a rocket at the deflector enemy's shield, and then jump into the rocket when it comes back at you and let it hurt you and launch you through the window to get through it, to get to that secret. It has things like that throughout the game that just, like, really intense players will be able to come across. But, yeah, you don't need to, like, be a super hardcore gamer or anything to just get through the main game. I'm trying to remember who I originally saw playing that game. I think it might have been Deceased Crab, like way back in like 2007 or 8 or something. That or probably Ultra J-Man, but I think it was Deceased Crab, probably. Yeah, it's hard to beat a good 2000s indie game. There was quite a number of not great indie games, but that number of not great ones seems to have become more prevalent than it used to be, compared to how many good ones there are, as indie games have come more into the spotlight. It used to sort of just be little projects that creators would do passionately, and it still is passion and stuff, but it felt like it was people that really took the time to understand creating games more often than it is today. But a good indie game is a good indie game, or a good game is just a good game. No matter when it comes out, there'll always be good and bad games. Some people say video games age, and that, well, it was good back then, but what about now? And my response is just always, yeah, if it's good back then, it's good forever, so it's good now. Kind of a useless question to ask me. I know that people change their opinions over time, but for me, if it's a good game, it's just always good. I will play the Sega Genesis Aladdin, Vector Man, Sonic Hedgehog 2, all that stuff any day of the week. Yeah, I'm not sure if I ever have really considered a game any worse at all as time has gone on. My opinions on things mainly just stay as they are when I originally experience them. And it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to dislike a game that's older if I play it for the first time in a later era. Because I played Martian Gothic, like over a decade after it came out, and I loved that game, regardless of how games were being made afterwards. Now, Martian Gothic is a rather, questionable game at parts, with the glitchiness that I ran into, but it is quite a nice one to me. Bow. 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 Yeah, this kind of music is what I look for in a video game. More and more I find myself craving for companies to just let video games, by and large, sound like video games when it comes to the soundtrack. A lot of times it does not deliver, because a lot of them just focus on it being like ambient, real-life type of noises and stuff. It just makes it more boring to do it that way to me, usually. Unless it's like a horror game, then that works, but if it's just like a game, it's just dull that way. Of course, there are exceptions, as is the case with anything. But in the general sense, it's more lifeless feeling to me to not have, like, soundtracks that really appeal to you and stuff. Speaking of soundtracks, let us go for a different soundtrack. And, I love this tune, but I don't want it to wear out its welcome. So, see if we can find anything else. There is the yawning. Okay. And trumpets fade. Huh.
YouTube Premium is ad-free.
Don't care about YouTube Premium.
Program terminated. Program terminated.
Oh, this is a pretty, I guess, metal-sounding track.
Program terminated.
This is from an old PS1 game, Tiny Tank.
Program terminated.
And I remember the Tetrahedron would always mention this game whenever they were reviewing stuff. They would be just going on about the latest E3 and be like, "It was great, but we must ask, where is Tiny Tank? When will he get a new game?" Just this little sort of parody mascot type game that no one knows about. Yeah, this was back in the day where people doing the music just went like completely insane making the music for like no reason. You could have like the most simple thing happening on the screen and you'd get a soundtrack as if like you were stopping the end of the world or something. It's very, very intense, but kind of soothing in the background of the tune. That's some backwards talking there. Hopefully none of this is copyrighted. Don't want to have the video blocked. Kinda doubt it is, because it's like from a game no one even knows about. Actually, let me check down here. Yeah, I guess that looks okay. Well, you can't say this final stream is not epic sounding. I guess the whole soundtrack is just this heavy, hardcore rock type stuff. Sorta synthy. Oh. Okay. Let me check here. Whoa! Turn this down a bit. Yipe. Well, I guess with what the game deals with, this is a pretty suitable soundtrack. And it is, it's a game where the humans have all had to hide underground for centuries from robots taking over. Yeah, it's definitely a hardcore track, but let me see if I can find a different, less intense thing to play here. Come on, load up. Alright. Good ol' warpy elevator music. This one also deals with robots, but it is not nearly as dark and edgy feeling. Yeah, the whole game, this is Space Station Silicon Valley that this comes from. The whole game is just this type of music. And it's like a very bizarre choice. Very calm, though. Puts you in a good mood. I think this plays during one of the ice levels. So is anyone out there having everyone having a good day and all that? Right now, it is 77 degrees here. I was out yesterday on a walk, and I learned from previous weekend outings around here. You do not want to be without an umbrella when you have any inkling that maybe you should take an umbrella. So I took one, and it started pouring. But this time, the only thing that got soaked was my shoes. So that is a victory for me. And the little cafe at the bookstore that I go to sometimes is, it's having some of the older people leaving now. Was talking with an old woman there that sat next to me at the bar area. He was going on about the old days where she used to use a typewriter at her job and everything. You meet some very interesting people at that place. Oh, right. I gotta bring up a different window. I keep forgetting that. Every time that I'm doing these streams, if I don't have a separate window open on the internet window, it'll lag the performance of my stylus with the video playing at another part of the stream. Of course, having the stream happening at all is something that interferes naturally with the other programs that are running, performance-wise. But it's best to decrease any issues, so having that extra window open to flip to so that the video is not playing on screen helps to free up some of the performance issues. Maybe I'll see the rest of Keep Your Hands Off Aizukin while Mom is here. I have been meaning to finally finish that show. Although I also need to work on some review stuff. The Eternal Projects of Edward18. The endless, restless YouTube DeviantArt digital entity. Hello everyone, edward18 here. Coming at you live. Is everyone being a good little PogChamp out there? I am hip with the kids, yo. Yeah, this music just always puts me in a good old mood. I don't know what it is, but after I did those Pikmin streams the other week, the numbers kept going up, but then, like, 2 days ago, it, like, reset. Like, it was up to, like, 40-something people, and then the video, the latest one, like, went back down. And I'm not sure how that happened. Seems like a glitch in the YouTube system. Not that I really pay much attention to the view count usually, but being that it was the latest video, I had noticed the count while passing by a few times. They do have a Game Boy version of Space Station Silicon Valley. I think I have a ROM of it somewhere. I was never able to get it though, like physically, because I don't think it came out in America. It's a very odd interpretation of the game, which I guess fits since it's, in general, just a really weird game. But it's like the areas are like set up in cylinders, so if you keep going to the right, eventually you'll end up back where you were originally when you started the level. It's very weird. I've always kind of wondered what the ending of the Game Boy version is like, though. Back when I got the ROM of it, I'm not sure where that would even be, because I don't have it on this computer. But back when I got the ROM of it, it's like there weren't any videos like covering the game. The Game Boy version. Obviously there are people that covered the N64 version. Space Station Silicon Valley feels like a very... It feels like a game that they got working good enough to release it. It feels very unfinished at parts. Because there's obviously the souvenir that you cannot get due to the glitch. So you can't 100% the game. But it's like... The desert sector feels like it doesn't have enough levels, and on top of that, it's like that unlockable game that you could get from apparently getting all the souvenirs has like no music or anything. It feels like it's something that wasn't meant to be found. It really feels like it needs a remake and something to like show what the game was fully intended to be like. Online games for kids. Play games, solve quests, and more. It has a horrible image of a kid about to be attacked by all these tentacle things. Silicon Valley, cold weather in California. No, thank you. Oh, Nitro Rad reviewed that game. Ah. I haven't seen Nitro Rad in quite a while. Here's a Nimona scene. And Gremlin's Secret of the Mogwai. Ooh. We could do... Oh, I don't care. Some ad for Dunkin' Donuts with things that are not donuts. Now we'll listen to this. This was always such a very awesome sounding track for the final level of a Sonic game. Yeah. And Dr. Eggman always, he had a thing for putting, like, his logo on stuff in levels, but in the original games, you only really get to see the logo. You don't see it all that often. And it's not like his face as the logo. It's like a stylized EG as the logo. Probably Knuckles Chaotix and Sonic 3D Blast are where you see him plastering his image on as much stuff as he can back in the old games. It was kind of weird to me that, like, in the American stuff, they renamed Eggman Robotnik, and then kept having the egg theme apply to him. Because when I was younger, I did not understand at all why there was, like, all this egg stuff that was going along with Robotnik in the cartoons. Obviously, it's the creators of the cartoons going along with the egg theme from the games. Likewise, in the games, I did not understand why there was, like, things named after eggs and stuff for a guy called Robotnik. But thankfully, they ended up just sorta bridging the gap by the time the adventure games came along and using both Robotnik and Eggman in both Japan and the English-speaking stuff. Everyone get down on the dance floor. It's an Edward18 rave. One game I have wanted to play a couple of times is Among Us. I have never really... Well, I don't play online games with people, so anytime there's like a big multiplayer game that everyone's doing, I never experience it. I'm not sure how good I would be at any. I imagine with my stale voice and emotionlessness, it would be a bit harder to pick out who is, like, the suspected killer in Among Us if it is me. I'd probably be someone that would just say, yeah, I'm the killer if I was asked, and they probably wouldn't believe me. It's all about how you present yourself, the calmness that you play your voice with. I don't really present much in the way of intensity when it comes to vocal performance. I do seem to like making these streams though, which give quite a bit more talking than I am used to. I did not want to blacken the screen. Yeah, there's all this smoke going around everywhere in these panels. It's mostly the bottom half of this page is pretty much just showing, like, different shots of the claw and the damage that has been done to his clothing. I'm going to make the backgrounds to these panels black, just to pop everything out, the smoke and the claw. Make it sort of a bit more dynamic looking. Yeah, the only downside about doing all these streams all the time is that if other people are doing videos while I'm doing this, I a lot of times end up missing them because it's not lining up with my schedule. That's a less important factor. It is more important to work on your own stuff, I feel. Anything you want to see, you can get to afterwards in the future at any point, pretty much. Unless they make the videos private. If you, thankfully for streams, if it's someone that you know makes their stuff private every time they stream afterwards, you can just save the video while it's going on as a bookmark, and then return to it later. Since you have a direct link, it will bypass the privacy type of lockout, and you can just keep viewing the video you wanted to see earlier in the day. Obviously, for normal videos that become private, there's no way of getting those links unless the creator hands those out to you themselves, or unless you saw them before they went private. Alright, I have some chips over here from the last time I was streaming. That's good, I don't have to get up to get anything this time. I really am not sure about how certain people stream for like days and days and stuff. Seems very exhausting to me. Like you wouldn't really be able to get too much of your projects and stuff done. Yeah, these chips are quite good. Quite good. I'm assuming it's because the new Transformers movie is coming out, or is out at this point. I've been seeing a lot of people have been going back to react to the original 1980s Transformers movie lately, which is kind of weird to me, because I would assume everybody has seen the movie at this point. And I would assume that with every other Transformer movie that came out, that they would have had the inclination to react to that, but apparently it's still a hot item. Which, can't complain too much. It's certainly the best movie they ever did of Transformers, for as hokey as it can be. Yeah, people that first see that movie, I feel like a lot of them have a reluctant appreciation towards it. Because obviously it's a very weird movie. It feels like a music video at parts. When I first saw clips of it, I thought it was people that had put music over, like, movie scenes to make a music video out of. Did not realize it actually had those songs playing over parts of the movie. That was, like, my first initial impressions of it, was like, this is the movie? But it's a 80s Hasbro cartoon, so knowing how things are by this point, it's kind of expected with that. Animation-wise, it's amazing at parts. Certainly the best thing they ever made of the original series. And it gave you Unicron, who I have standing behind me on the table. That figure I have of Unicron is, like, one of my most prized possessions. It's like the size of my body, I think. I have summoned you for the purpose. No one summons Megatron! Then it pleases me to be the first. Yeah, you kinda gotta wonder what was going through Megatron's head, trying to bargain with a god and stuff. Yeah, I would say Transformers mainly picks up once you get to Beast Wars. That's where the story just gets to phenomenal levels. the mainframe had a penchant for creating just utter masterpieces in the early 3D days. Rest in peace, reboot. May you someday, somehow get your finale. And we do not talk about the Guardian Code. That does not count. I haven't seen much of the Guardian Code, but it felt kinda like a bootleg Code Lyoko. Very bootleg. Code Lyoko was always a show that was felt like it did not belong on Cartoon Network with how much more serious and dire it could get. That show had very, very clear implications that the children in the show would get murdered if they didn't stop the things that happened in those episodes. I remember a few times they would stop everything, finally succeed right as somebody was about to die. Right when they're about to drown and stuff like that. It was a lot more serious feeling than other shows that were on in that time frame to me. Which is why it was so good. And I'm pretty sure I remember reading that in the books, it is, pretty obvious that Xana does murder people there. People do die in the books. But I've never read any of the books. I'm pretty sure they're not exactly canon. But it's not at all out of character for Xana to do that stuff. He clearly does not care what happens to people. And actively relishes in people getting hurt and getting killed. You all are going to die. I could not believe when I heard that line in that show. They flat out let him say, "You're going to die." 2000s Cartoon Network. Such a time to be alive. Yeah, Magoozy was a pretty... It was odd. It felt like, atmosphere-wise, it was Toonami for your younger brother type of thing. But it still showed pretty intense stuff compared to other things that Cartoon Network regularly showed. The later 2000s are where things sort of started falling apart. I think the main thing was the switching of presidents after the whole Aqua Teen Hunger Force bombing fiasco. Not actual bombing, but the belief that one of the posters for the movie was like a schematic for a bomb that someone had put up. Then the president of Cartoon Network stepping down because of that. That's when, afterwards, like, things like, they started showing live action stuff and all that garbage on Cartoon Network. Completely changed the channel. Usually for the worst. Bow, bow. Bow, bow, bow. Ding, ding. Yeah, Cartoon Network was always the better one between that and Nickelodeon to me. Nickelodeon didn't even try once it got into the later 2000s. It's just, oh, we got SpongeBob. That's what we got. But let's occasionally bring in new shows like Cat Scratch or Mighty Bee. And, people watch SpongeBob, so let's make more room for SpongeBob. Get rid of these shows that no one really watches because we don't promote it well enough or let it shine as much as it needs to. Because they just want SpongeBob. That's all people want, is just SpongeBob. Forever. I was astounded when the Loud House was the one that, like, stuck around. Not sure how long it'll keep sticking, but it's still going for now. It feels like they have found their second SpongeBob, kind of. I just hope that show doesn't go on so long that it tears itself apart like most other shows. I personally have not really seen much of the Loud House in recent years, so I can't really say how it is at this point. I just know that from what I have looked in on, it's surprised me because they have, like, continued the timeline in it. Normally, those types of cartoony cartoons just stay fixed in one period, but, like, the baby sibling has gotten older and can talk and stuff in newer seasons. And it's just kind of a nice surprise to see that actually happening. I would not expect that from that type of show. I would have loved for Cat Scratch to have just been... I love Cat Scratch, but I also would have loved to have seen just a more kid-friendly version of Gear, which is what Cat Scratch came from. Like, there is no way they would, make a version of Gear for Nickelodeon that has all the stuff that the comic had. That would not happen. Certainly not the original uncensored version of the comic. Have people have the cats and dogs just flat out killing each other and stuff. Shooting each other in the head and all that. That is how I prefer that story, though. It is arguably my favorite of Doug TenNapel's comics. Do not care for the changes that were made in the, I think, 25th anniversary edition. Really took out a lot of the life of the writing and scenes and stuff. I do hope he comes out with that colored version of Earthboy Jacobus. It's the latest project that they were working on. I think it was more of a Catherine thing that she was doing. That she had just been working on the coloring, and Doug had just sort of been doing his own things, but I think eventually the coloring just got to a point where it looked like it was actually going to happen. So I think they're just rolling with it at this point and having that be the next release. Obviously, I'm not part of production, so I can't say, but from what my guess is, that felt like that's how it was. Either way, it'd be a new Doug thing to get. That isn't any of those idiotic NFT things that they do. They can keep all that garbage. I just want the, like, actual adventures and stuff. Work, 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 work. Well, we've gotten to the last panel quicker than I thought we would. Well, it's not the last panel yet, but the last parts of the page. Then after I get done with this page, I really need to get to work on getting things all put into place for when Mama Edward comes to town. I'm going to have to be driving to pick her up, like, at 11 at night. For some reason, the Cincinnati airport is located in Kentucky, across the bridge from Cincinnati. I never have understood that. Hopefully the visit all goes nicely. Let's redo the eye here a bit. Now, I sometimes think about telling stories on stream, but I don't really have stories to tell that often. That's, I have led a very boring life, so there's not too much to say. There's stuff that'll just be covered in my autobiography that I'm not going to say on screen. It's, sort of more things for people to find out about my life that are more secretive from across the years. That'll probably be more suitable to tell later in life. Don't worry, I'm not like some secret spy or anything for espionage or whatever. I'm just some weird cyborg guy that lives in his studio facility thing and animates himself reviewing things nobody cares about. I should change this song right now, so let's look at some others right over here. Let's see, what do we got? Oh, this is a good one. This is a remix of a 3D Blast track that I believe is Final Fortress from Sonic Heroes is a remix of. As it's like when you listen to it, it's like got the exact same beat to it. And I love Final Fortress. Arguably my favorite final level of a 3D Sonic game. But yeah, you can kinda see what is underneath the Claw's clothing here at parts. It's, the coat and hat are both going to be getting thrown off in this final panel here. So obviously, we're getting into what he actually looks like underneath all of that stuff in the next page. Did you know that there is an island that is just snakes? That's all it is. Like, every square foot of the island is covered in snakes, and it's illegal to go to. For obvious health reasons. I believe that there are people that are like, they're black market poachers and stuff that go there to, like, get a specific type of snake that only lives there. But from what I've heard, few of them have died trying to do that. It was first really discovered that how many snakes there were when a family lived there and made a house there, and nobody heard from them, and they went to find they'd all died. They'd been killed by all the snakes. I believe there was a lighthouse there that also kind of suffered the same fate. Originally, I was doing the arm right here, but I ended up moving it further back because it made more sense for where the elbow connected and everything. Gonna have to get rid of this with the clone stamping after when I do the editing, more editing for this page off screen. Yeah, the claws just sorta, since there's so many holes in his coat now, he's just sticking his claw right through one of the holes to tear off the cloak. And my head today has been in a sort of state of normalcy, but at times mixing into a state of fogginess. I was seeing stars in my vision earlier today. In general, I'm always very tired at the least. Keep the work going. Can't give up, not now, not ever. Gotta keep pressing forward, making progress. Boom, 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 boom. I always get at least a page or two done when Mom comes to visit or when I'm with relatives. Still gotta keep working, even on vacation. Relaxation? I don't know the meaning of a word. Trying to show some folded lines in the fabric and stuff right here, but it could come off as just tatters and tears, which doesn't really matter at this point, considering the state that his clothes are in. As usual, the claw is giving very little indication of much emotion during these, even under all of what has happened to him in the blast that he has had to endure from Doko. It's just another little inconvenience for him. Mainly, he's getting rid of the hat and coat because all it's going to do at this point is just impede his movement if, like, he gets caught in one of the holes while he's, like, flinging his arms and limbs around and stuff. It was always kind of funny how in Samurai Jack, whenever his gi, his robes would get all torn up and he'd like tear them off and everything for the battle scenes, he'd have them just fine the next episode every time. It was obviously working on the cartoon logic of, well, it's a cartoon, so it's fine the next episode. But with what is revealed in the final season, you could probably equate it to some sort of magic or something, though I'm pretty sure that is not the intent. I love that final season. Finally being allowed to show, like, the full extent of the violence that should be there in those scenes. They didn't really do much language-wise to warrant a higher rating, but You don't really need that for, like, what adults and kids should and should not watch. It's not necessarily a deciding factor on what goes into what age range. I remember in Batman the Animated Series, they actually said, "Oh my god," at parts. It was very rare, but I remember they said that. And it was always such a shock when I would hear that. I remember Alfred says it at one point. I think it's Alfred when he first sees Bruce put on the Batman mask, and he's like, "My God." And then Batman when he sees what happened to Mr. Freeze, why he is the way he is. Very natural reactions, but not ones I would expect in a cartoon that American studios intend to show to kids. In Japan, I don't think they really care much about, like, profanity, because it's like, it's just sort of normal talking for that. It's like in the Japanese versions of Sonic and stuff, you will have, like, Eggman curse at Sonic sometimes and all that. I did see a clip or two of that new Sonic game. I forget what it's called, but it's like the one that looks like the quote-unquote classic Sonic. But it's in 3D, like 3D visuals, but it's still a side-scroller. Superstar something, I think. It looks nice. It looks kinda more cheap than I was expecting animation-wise for some of it. It looks decent. Like, I'm not like instantly astounded by it or anything. It feels like Sega does not give the effort to the quality of the visuals and animations and usually story for modern Sonic that they should. But in other ways, that game also looked good visually. Animation-wise, it looked fine. It was mainly Eggman, like the boss battle animations that looked very stilted and all that to me. Let us head on over to Egg Rocket. I used to go to this level in Sonic Advanced and just stand there so I could listen to the music. Out of all the games in the Sonic series, this track feels like it's the one that is, like, you're on your way to outer space the most. I know people have fond memories of, like, Death Egg from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and it's good. But this is the one I always think of when I think of outer space and Sonic. Just got that otherworldly feel to the initial parts of it. I didn't know it until, like, the other day that, Dimps, the people that made Sonic Advance, the people that would go on to do that started on, for Sonic, on, like, what was it? The Sonic Neo Geo Pocket game? And I never realized, like, it makes sense because both Sonic Advance and the Pocket game have, the Hammer Eggman fight as the starting fight in them. So it's kind of, like, spiritually a sequel to the Pocket game is what Advance was. Just sort of refining their stab at it. That's what it feels like to me. And then they go on to do the rest of Advance, and then the Rush games, and Sonic Colors DS, and all that. Pretty much became Sega's go-to for making side-scroller Sonics. Well, thankfully I'm not going to have to be coloring in all these tatters along his outfit for the next pages. Not only will the cloak be gone, but it will be in color, so I won't be doing as much black, I don't think, for those. Probably get the coloring done a bit faster on some of them in the computer editing process. It's a bit harder, like, it's more time-consuming to have everything portrayed in black and white when it comes to the coloring process on the editing in the computer. At least with how I do it. If there were a faster way to do all this, I wish I knew it. Oh, what is this? Aquarium Park Classic Remix. Well, I do love me an Aquarium Park. Aquarium Park was my absolute favorite level of Sonic Colors. I really wish they'd brought that in for Generations. Did not care much about Planet Wisp. Just get rid of Sonic being able to pretty much swim with his jumping. That's like the only issue I have with Aquarium Park. That the whole Asian theme that it had going on was so pretty. Down, 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 boom, 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 boom. Yeah, if you got a traditional Asian look to things, I will pretty much always be enjoying that. Ugh. Yeah, this is... They're going a bit warbly with the remix at this part. Yeah, doing all these tatters and stuff. On the other computer it would be easier, but on this computer it takes a bit more time to get the lines correctly stroked on the page here with the blacks. Ba-dum boom boom boom. Ba-ba-boom. Come on, come on. Here we go. Raise it to there. And now back to the page. Yeah, I probably would not care to do a stream with Mom here. Having someone else hear me do all of this talking to nobody probably be kind of odd. Like, nobody physically in front of me. I should probably add a few tatters along this to show that it's the coat more. There we go. Some stuff to imply the tears in it. I had to listen to this song so much when I first played Cave Story Took me probably like 50 to 70 times to finally beat this area. Yeah, the best way that I can... The animation that I think describes the pain of going through a very hard game is Kaizo Trap. If anyone wants a very relatable feel of trial and aggravation, and a very epic adventure, be sure to check that out. It is one of my favorite videos on YouTube, I think. Kaizo Trap. It was made years and years ago now, but it's always been just awesome to sit through. I used to watch that sometimes alongside some of Gooseworks' videos. The, Runmo and stuff. It doesn't matter whether you're sick or your legs are broken or whatever. As long as you can talk, you can still stream. You just need that voice box to work with in your throat. Ramble, ramble, ramble. Edward talks forever about nothing at all. Okay, get that filled in, that filled in. This is a very repetitive tune, so I'm gonna change it. And The Completionist. Cave story, the day his mom and dad died. That sounds horrible. Let's wrap back around to some Diddy Kong. Yeah, I guess we'll do this one. I love not showing my face in videos. If I could, I would link the computer up to my brain and have my mind project into some sort of camera program the Edward18 cartoon character and have it just animate as my face would move in a more exaggerated fashion to give a sort of cartoon episode performance to the piece. I've never cared for what showing what I looked like in videos. It's partly why I ended up animating myself for the videos. It's a lot more work, but it is a lot more satisfying to me to do it that way. It gives you a lot more fun than just a real-life person just staring at the screen. And since I started using the Edward18 character, it has sort of gotten a bit added to it, like, idea-wise. It's mostly stayed pretty much the same, though. A cyborg-type character that can sort of shape parts of his body into what he wants it to be. It's always nice seeing what creators interpret themselves as. Jaden, Derpixum, just whatever avatars they end up coming up with for themselves. I guess Iron Mouse, Gura, all those various people. What is it? Something Sinclair? Tonkatsu Sinclair, I think. The one that's very clearly a gruff man voice for an anime waifu design. Very Dr. Girlfriend vibes from that one. The problem with these chips is they got some spice to them, so they keep making me cough a tiny bit when I eat one of them. The melodious tunes of Edward18's atrocious voice. Though I was giving quite some lively performances compared to what I thought they'd turn out as for some of the games I was playing. Voicing characters, I don't ever really hear what I myself sound like when I did voices for characters back when me and my brother would voice them in our playing and stuff back when we were little. Yeah. Yeah, I just kind of come up with things on the spot for how characters should sound. I always love doing that very monotone voice for that one operator in the Zero games. Then just having her say things that, like, do not at all fit that voice. Oh, we are at the final object to blacken in here. After this, I am going to, like, take a break to start moving things around for when Mom gets here. It's going to be sort of a combination. The rest of the day is sort of gonna be me working on this between bouts of working on getting things more tidied up here. But this stream itself is about done, I think, as I will be handling the rest of the stuff after I fill in the blacks off-screen. And this will probably be the last you hear from Edward18 for a few weeks at least. For those that need their Edward fix, you can always stop by the Discord, which is in the description. I'm always on there. Or head on over to the gallery on warahi.deviantart.com/gallery. And I'm also on Twitter, for whatever that's worth. I think I'm Edward18517 there, but if I'm not, I'm Edward18. Not that anyone really, I think, thinks about Twitter much these days. Good old Elon. What will he think up next? I know, this is how I'm going to kill my site today. Come on, just one little... I think that'll do. Then shave it up a tiny bit. There we go. Okay, I think I got all the black areas that I was aiming to fill in on stream. No, not all of them. Let's head down to these guys in the background here. Just get them filled in first. I don't have this at the right magnification. There we go. 100. Yeah, the rest of the audience in the other panels is just gonna be silhouettes, but being this close up to the claw and everything can see the people directly behind him. I guess if nothing else, if I ever do get anyone else helping on these comics, these streams do give a pretty in-depth look as to how to color these. That would speed things up quite a bit to have someone that would handle this part of the process. But then you would not get the streams with me just talking forever about nothing. What a shame. Everyone needs their Edward. You get an Edward. You get an Edward. Everybody gets an Edward. I have thought before about making a little fabric edward18, like a little makeshift doll. Preferably, I'd have a 3D printer and make, like, figures of all my characters and stuff. Have them all up on the shelf and everything. I know 3D printers are a lot less expensive than they used to be. But I certainly can't afford one. Okay. Now just get this background, and then we should be finished for today. For the stream. Obviously, I'm not gonna be finished yet. Got so much stuff to do. Not too much stuff, but so much stuff. I'm not someone that puts things off till the last minute when I have a proper schedule mapped out for things. There we go. That avoids the black hair so it doesn't blend in with everything else. Always gotta leave a white line when you do blacks behind blacks. Otherwise, everything just bleeds together and it makes no sense visually. Toyodo. The weird sounds of Edward18. Motoyoto. Oyayama. Oimayado. Don't know if those mean anything in any language. Just things I mumble to myself. Let's give him some hair back here so it looks like it's actually continuing behind his head. His head or her head, whoever's head it is. With too many people in a scene, sometimes any sense of gender, age, or whatever loses itself in the details that you're drawing, if they're far enough back, and if they're amongst others. Things in the background almost never have as much detail as things in the foreground. It's just how eyes viewing a scene in real life works. But for here, it's also helps to speed up on production, to not spend as much time with things that people probably aren't even gonna pay much attention to. But when have I done things in a timely manner? Okay, there we go. Yes, yes. I will obviously fill in the crowd, the audience, into the stands back in those areas once I'm off screen. But for now, ouch. I will raise the opacity just to give a good look at how the image is going to look when it's done. Not too much in the way of verbal stuff in this scene. You got Doko from the previous scene, blasting energy where the claw was, drops, then inspects the blast area to see if things are alright, and if he got him, then the smoke clears and it shows the shadow of the claw behind it moved out of the way just in time to avoid getting hit. And then it shows a few camera shots of his clothes in tatters before he decides to just throw them off. And yeah, that is page 65 of my comic of Heroes and Legends from Dreamscape comic number 14. Obviously, this will be touched up after all this, but I've gotten done what I can today. I need to get to work on tidying up some things here before the big visit happens in a couple of days. So, for now, this will be the end of my streams. It'll be a few weeks before I get to do another, probably. But I assume I will be doing another. So this is farewell for now. But you can always check me out on my Discord, and everyone can talk on there. And that link will be in the description. But for now, I bid you all a fond farewell. Have yourselves a good whatever month this is. July, right? Yeah. Have a good July, everybody. Until we meet again, this has been edward18, signing out.